do you always do the whole flow because of that they were mathematically calculated, or how do you?
I'm pretty much an
personally?
orthodox practitioner. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still studying and learning, and so if Joe, Mariah, and Mary have given me this message that this is the most effective way, I'm going to stay with that. You know, Mary did say if we knew which step in the sequence was the more was the project, we could go right to that step, and that would work as well. But for myself, I like a little more thoroughness and to make sure that we're covering all our bases.
Yeah, sometimes I see this keeping the integrity of the flow pattern. I mean, they are very
Exactly.
beautiful and have quality to the numbers as well. Can you,
Pardon our traffic.
there's not that much traffic in Hawaii.
No, that's very unusual. Okay.
You have a lot of roosters here, by the way.
We have a lot of roosters. Yep.
All night and all day we hear them cuckooing.
Come listen to the roosters with us. Yeah.
So a little bit more about astrology, because a lot of when you teach, you talk a lot about it. And you ask people what is your birthday. So how do you incorporate that in the Jin Shin Jyutsu?
Well, you know, without going too deeply into the philosophy or the teaching, each of the depths of our being and each of our tissues is associated with a planet and a planetary energy. Jin Shin Jyutsu comes from the position that we are microcosm of the macrocosm, and that everything out there is happening in here. Okay, so that includes all the planets and all of the energies and all the vibrations. So
So in this way, the moment that you are born, the planets are in a certain composition, and so it affects the individual body. You would say
absolutely.
that's how we are created in a way, and then by our lifestyle, when you're not in alignment, is that how you see it?
If you're not in alignment with that energetic pattern, then you're going to encounter difficulty in project. Yeah.
Right.
It's not a new story. I mean, mankind has studied the universe and the cosmos and the planets for forever, probably. And
In a way, I like it because for all the skeptics, it is all the same: numerology, astrology, Jin Shin Jyutsu, the Indian tradition, the
music,
chakras, music.
the elements. Another very important part of our story is the elements of creation. And so um, I think what's most important and what I would encourage all of us to do is to follow our passion. And if it's music, or if it's the colors and art, if it's astrology or numerology, find that road that will allow you access into this wonderful world of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
study.
if you have a project, could it be certain music or musical notes that help to harmonize the physical body?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. All of again, we are vibration, right? The body is simply a manifestation of vibration that's been lowered so that we can experience the sensation of a physical form. And when we understand that, then whichever vibratory tool you use to access and harmonize that vibration is going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm. And yesterday you said something. The more you're in alignment, can you
Yes.
repeat that? That was really.
Well, we were talking
made
about
us
feeling
think.
balance and imbalance, and one of the things that I recognized some time ago is that the closer you come to balance, the less it takes to have you feel imbalance. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
that double-edged sword of coming into knowing and wisdom of my own balance. But once you get there, it's easier to go away from it in some ways. It takes less to disharmonize that balance.
Right. So that's why it's important to surround us with beautiful music, sound. Make sure we're in alignment and
Yeah.
and breathe.
Nature.
Yes.
To be in alignment with nature as best we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no accident that
I'll
Mary
make
in the textbook starts by saying nature. Jin Shin Jyutsu is nature. It's
Mhm.
effortless reality, and that's what we're living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you've been teaching all over the world and in many different countries. How do you feel that Jin Shin Jyutsu is received in all these different continents as we're dealing with different cultures?
That's a great question. You know, I have been blessed with a lot of travel. It's part of my nature is to be on the road, and the road has in many ways become my home. But what I realize is that we humans, no matter how varied, how different, what culture, we all want to be happy. It's a very simple story. It's how do I be happier being who I am? And if I'm in South America or Europe or in the East, in Singapore, Taiwan, wherever we are, I encounter people who want to be happy. That's our birthright. That's our essence. We are the creator, and matter is laughter. We are happiness. And so that innate knowing of I'm here to be happy keeps us on the path. It keeps us looking for that which is going to satisfy.
So do you actually see more similarities in the cultures when you present Jin Shin Jyutsu? Because it's the universal art.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
We're not as different as we perceive ourselves to be sometimes. Yeah.
What about, because you've introduced Jin Shin Jyutsu in Singapore,
Singapore
right?
and Taiwan.
Taiwan.
And we're beginning to move into to mainland China. So it's a very exciting thing. And one of the things I realize about dealing with the East is folks in the East have been raised with the story of energy. They've been raised with the understanding that we are energetic beings. They've been raised with the idea of the elements of creation which come together to form the body. And in some ways, it was a good realization to see that in the East, they include the life force as a part of our innate being. And the wood element, that part of us that is spirit and matter.
So they understand that it's part of
It's their upbringing.
their
Yes.
culture. And do you think that when Mary brought it from Japan to the United States, she had to bring in a lot of that philosophy to make it more accessible for us in the West? Or
Well, I believe that's why she started with text two. You know, in our Jin Shin Jyutsu story, we have two textbooks, and one is more about philosophy and one more about application of the art. And that's a simplification, but that's basically it. But she started with the physical body. She started educating us about the physical form and its creation, so that once she had enough of us understanding a little bit of what she was talking about, she could introduce more of the philosophy.
yeah, so in a way that I feel it makes sense. If you start with the more the macrocosm, it is harder to understand for us Westerners, right? And
Exactly.
if you understand it the other way, then the lifetime study changes also a little bit, I think, if you start at the physical.
Well, you know, I think that explains why in the 60s, when there was such a big social movement and change and revolution, and why so many people went to the East. We went to Tibet, we went to India,
Right.
we went to China, or wherever we could go, because in the East they know something that we don't know. And so many of our seekers from the West went East, because again, it's already included in their story of life.
I feel a lot of people who started on the journey like myself and like you and the ladies over here, it's the connection to the source, the microcosm connecting to this macrocosm, this feeling of yes, I found it. And so this is something that in the East they're more brought up with.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that understanding?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, source has so many names and so many understandings and characteristics and all throughout the world. And yet all of us know that there's something
Right.
bigger than myself alone.
And you feel that when you receive Jin Shin Jyutsu, when you get a
Absolutely.
session, when you work on yourself.
Absolutely. And then because of my fascination with the planets and the way Mary included the sun and the moon and all of the planets in our story, the sun, for instance, keeps us connected to the light. And it is our sunlight. And so to be able to use flows that enhance that connection through the sun, to the light, to be connected to source, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Let me see. I wanted to talk a little bit more. Well, first of all, I wanted to say and thank you for spreading this incredible art and your contribution really to introducing it to all these countries, Taiwan, China, and Singapore. And you also teach a lot in Germany, right?
I teach a lot. Well, in Europe throughout. I just come back from Europe, and it was really good to be there. We were in Holland,
Right.
in Rotterdam, and a couple of classes there in Germany. But, you know, I've really been blessed. I've been in Dubai with Jin Shin Jyutsu, and that's another culture, really an amazing story of life and how Jin Shin Jyutsu is applicable to that culture. to see it in Taiwan or in Singapore.
It's just amazing how we get, even by listening to the pulse, to the core of the people. And like what you say, how they're all really innately so similar, how we are so similar, and we're all living to have this connection with
Exactly.
Source,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You know, the Hawaiian culture too. I'm really grateful to be here in Hawaii too, because this is a land where nature is very, very much appreciated, and the simplicity of Jin Shin Jyutsu and the simplicity of nature are really profoundly compatible. And I,
Mhm.
yeah, well, it's a blessing.
Can you talk a little bit about your retreat here, what you offer? Because I don't think a lot of people know it. I think we are the second group here.
I think you're the fourth or fifth group
Fourth?
actually. Well, many years ago, my family and I we had the design and the desire to create a retreat center, and as you may know, I've been involved with self work, with self development, with self improvement, what I'm for, human potential work for all my life really, and I was partnered with people who were involved with the same kind of desire. And so when we built this home, it was intended ultimately to become a place where people could go for healing,
Mm-hmm.
and especially people. I feel people who are involved in going out and sharing with others and touching other lives. So if this can be used as a center where those of us who are practitioners are, who using Jin Shin Jyutsu out in the world, that's what I want to do. I want to
Mm-hmm.
bring people here to recharge them, to revitalize them, to renew them, and to share this incredible
Beautiful. Yeah.
thing with them.
So we are here, this Dutch group this week.
Yeah, yeah,
They're all here to support us.
yeah,
And so tomorrow we're gonna start our studies. Yesterday we went looking around over the island,
Yeah.
and we had nice dinners here, cooking all together,
Yeah.
and just having a really nice time. And then tomorrow our studies begin, and we're gonna get a few sessions in the day.
yes. Well,
We're each gonna get.
you know what I want for our time together is both study and receiving the work, sharing the work. So we'll start with sessions each morning, and we'll finish our day with sessions, and we'll have study periods during the day. I also like the fact that it's a small group. You know, I like
Yeah.
the intimacy.
I was just gonna say that too. I mean, honestly, to spend 5 days with Wayne so intimately in his home is just an incredible experience, because you have very large classes when
Yes.
you teach, so
Yeah.
people don't get this one-on-one time with you usually.
That's a part of the intention here. It's just that intimacy of being with each other and realizing. I think that we're all the same. We really all want to be happy. We all want to be healthy, and and we want the world around us to be happy and healthy. And I think that's a common characteristic of those of us in the Jin Shin Jyutsu family.
So Wayne, what is your message for new students and old students, if you would have a message to them? A lot of people are watching.
Wow.
And by the way, while you're thinking, we're gonna take questions later. If you have any, then you can type them in, and Anna will give them to me. She's writing them down.
Great.
So a message to the students.
Follow your heart. That would be, if I had to summarize it in one simple little phrase, I'd say follow your heart. You know, that was Jeremiah's message to Mary when she was debating her journey, and he suggested she follow her heart. And fortunately for all of us, she did.
Yeah.
And so I believe in the innate goodness of people. I really feel that each of us is that representation of the divine, of the source. And so when we can be who we are,
That's what Jin Shin Jyutsu kind of brings to the surface. When you work on yourself, when you are the Jin Shin Jyutsu, that's what reveals itself, are truly who we are.
in that moment.
In that moment.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm hearing Mary right now. Mary used to often say to us, at my level of awareness, you know, we're all in a constant state of growth and evolution. That was the third law she gave us. She said, there will always be change. Our choice is to go with it and learn from it or attempt to resist it.
Yeah. Wayne, how do you see Jin Shin Jyutsu develop into the world? What is your vision on that?
Well, ultimately, my big vision is having Jin Shin Jyutsu become a part of the education system throughout the world. I think, and it's even been discussed in some way already, that we could bring Jin Shin Jyutsu to the little ones,
Mm-hmm.
and to start the preschoolers holding their fingers. And when I lived in Boulder, we had an experience where there was a daycare center where we trained all of the teachers at the daycare center. And you could go and visit that daycare center, and you would see the children, and if one of them fell, one of the other children would quickly run over
Yeah.
and put their hands on their knees. And kids are great.
Yeah.
Kids are great. And so that's really my big dream, is to have Jin Shin Jyutsu become a part of our everyday education system throughout the world,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can take care of ourselves and each other.
Yeah, I've taught it in the New York system, in the New York
Yeah.
school system already. And every year I would come back to their health fair, and the children would hold their fingers and they would ask questions, and
Oh,
they were so
absolutely.
interested. And even today, my son, he calls me all the time, "Mom, what do I do for this? What do I do for that?"
Yeah.
For his friends. So to spread it with the young people is very important. Also to keep it alive, and then maybe to have it be more like a household name.
To grow it, you know,
To grow it.
to allow Jin Shin Jyutsu to become what it is. For
Because
you know,
it's so simple.
I've done a little bit of that. There was a teacher in Germany, and I would often go in her classroom when I'd go to Germany, and again, her students were always so receptive. And oh, Wayne's back to talk about holding our
Yes,
fingers.
nice.
Yeah,
And sitting on your
and sitting on your
Right?
hands. Yeah,
quietly regenerate for all those rowdy
yeah.
kindergarteners.
Well, and I have a goddaughter too. You know, she's just turned 14 this year, and she took her first Jin Shin Jyutsu class this year. And so when I see the aliveness of these young people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in Zoe and the people of her age, I see such hope for the future. Because sometimes things
Yeah.
can look so chaotic and so crazy, but these young people, they're gonna
Yeah.
get through it.
Yeah,
I want them to have Jin Shin Jyutsu to support them as they go through the change.
yeah. Great, wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's see if there are any questions. Anna?
I have one question here from Irene Lambert. What is the message of 11-11-11?
The message of 11-11-11. What is that? Hi, Irene. 11-11-11 for Wayne is exhale. As Mary told us, it's that simple. It's be the dropping of your shoulders and let those 11s relax. If you do it by holding 11 and 15, if you do it by holding your index finger, if you simply remember to exhale,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big part of who 11 is,
Mm-hmm.
as well as its impact on all of our physiology.
Why is the exhale so important?
Well, depends on which level. You know, again, one of the reasons I love Jin Shin Jyutsu, you can look at it metaphysically, you can look at it physically, you can study Jin Shin Jyutsu simply from physiology, and you'd learn a lot that's going to make life better and happier. The exhale, physiologically, helps to release the blood acids, helps the pH of the blood to diminish. So we lose the acidity, which we know in medicine today is the cause of so many of the bigger labels, bigger projects come about when the blood gets acidic. So that's one thing that happens. Very simply, you're releasing that acidity.
Mm-hmm.
On the energetic level, you know, Mary used to say, unload that excess baggage. Stop carrying around those burdens. Here in this country, in the States, we say, get that chip off your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same message. Stop carrying that excess. So for me, 11-11-11 is simply a reminder that all I have to be is an exhale. And then that inhale will be available. If I will let go of everything, I can have it all. I like that. I like that expression.
Yeah.
And in exhaling, I let go of everything.
So then it allows the
Yes,
inhale,
and
the
then I'm
abundance.
available to the abundance of the inhale.
Right.
Life, for me, seems to look like we say, yes, I'm going to let go of everything, except that one thing that I remember when you did that. And so I hold on to that one little spot, and it occupies a place in my being. And then I say, yes, I'm going to let go of everything except that. And then there's that other time. And then I hold that spot. And that is what aging is in my mind. That's what holding on to creates that lack of abundance, that lack of availability of abundance. And by the time you've held on to this and that and this and that and this and that, there's no more space in your being for the abundance that life wants to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then life says, okay, bye-bye.
I have one more question. Do you see any specific projects today? Do you see projects evolving? And do you have any thoughts about that?
Well,
Also, even culturally, like across the world?
what I see in our world is that technology is a wonderful tool, but it doesn't make us happy. It allows us to express our happiness, okay? And if there's no happiness, no matter what the technology, there's nothing to express. So I see the world becoming much more involved technologically. You know, we see young people running around with cell phones,
We're like
and
this.
you know, and we're all looking at our internet and studying.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're all looking for that happiness, no matter
In
where
our
we are.
phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Or someone to put a thumb up and say, yes, I like you. You know.
Yeah. So you think it's more about nature?
So as diverse as we all are, I know this one, that we all want to be happy. And given the opportunity, giving the awareness of what will make me happy, I move in that direction. So I don't believe people would choose unhappiness if they knew they could be happy. I don't believe people will choose a sick body if they know they can have a healthy one. But we sometimes get so lost in ourselves and our world and looking outside of ourselves for that which is going to restore our happiness. And as Mary in her teaching always reminded us, we've got to go inside. Every question that we will ever have in life is already answered inside.
Mm-hmm.
She used to tell us, the presence of the question tells of an answer within. And so that's the message that we're sharing with the world. And I don't care what your culture, what your religion, what your philosophy, what your occupation, go inside. Find that place that's going to allow you to be happy and follow your heart. Mm-hmm. This is our message.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think this is wonderful. Shall we end it on this note, or is there anything else that you'd like to add? It was just...
Well, I really would like to add, I just want to encourage everyone to pursue their dream. You know, Mary used to tell us, a man without a dream is like a bird without wings. And I want you to follow your dream. That's what I'm doing, you know? Mm-hmm. And in following your dream, you're going to wind up with something that you're going to be able to share with people. Dreams are big. Dreams are meant to be big. And so, follow your dream, hold your fingers. Remember to be the smile. That was another one of Mary's encouragements. You know, if I may, this is the year we just recently, and have throughout this year, been celebrating Mary's 100th year. Mm-hmm. Mary was born 21 October 1918, Mary Burmeister. And so this year, many of us have been really dedicating our time and our classes and our journeys to say thank you to Mary for her lifetime contribution to all of us. And so what we're doing this year is really honoring that incredible gift of her lifetime's work.
Yeah, and then you spreading it out into the world.
That was her message to us. She said, I'm the bridge. You folks are going to take it out into the world. And pretty much, again, her vision was right.
Amen. That
it's coming important to be that's the way it's getting out into the world. So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Jiro. And
thank you, Wayne.
Thank you to all of us who's sharing the journey with me. Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we'll see you. Let's go.
You'll
swim.
see me in my dream? Yes. Good. Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, this is great.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's go for a swim.
Good.
We're off here?
We are.
We're still on?